was Skol!
I made a sound effect. They actually took big swigs of alcohol.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Kentucky straight bourbon on my end.
Oh, what did I drink? Oh, please someone tell me before I die.
What you drank, Jake, if you think about the flavor profile a little bit, it is rye whiskey, honey, and orange peel. Those things mixed together. The rye has got kind of that cinnamon spice to it. That's one of the big flavor profiles. What is it trying to emulate? Cinnamon, a bit of sweetness from the honey. It's upscale Fireball, my boy.
I'm drinking Fireball.
Not literally, but basically.
I hate my fucking life. I was trying to avoid this. This is the drink from fucking 18 episodes ago.
You can't escape it.
I made a promise, guys. I made a promise to you, dear audience. Another round is in the finals, so I'm getting drunk for this episode. And my first drink of the night was a thing in my roommate's fridge that just says Stolen X. And it's a rock and rye 2.25 shots, and I downed it.
Can I read one more sentence of this review of the Stolen X that I'm looking
please,
at?
By all means.
Stolen X would be great to serve in neon plastic shot glasses at a party that features hot tubs and a shop vac spewing foam. The whole language around this product is bothersome to me.
It is bothersome. Do y'all want to do a hot tub stream?
Ooh. The next time we get together in person, we should do a sweet hot tub stream. The boys are gonna get famous on Twitch when you look at how sexy we are in our little bathing suits. Yeah,
emphasis on little. I'm gonna wear a tiny ass bathing suit.
Should we all get banana hammocks and take shots of Stolen X?
I hated that sentence. That's how they pitched Project X, that movie.
I remember when I was in high school, I had never seen it, and people kept talking about how fucking sweet it was. Is it actually a good movie, or is it just garbage that high schoolers want to watch?
Column A, column B, it's both. It is good, but I think it turned into one of those things where the wrong people started to really love it, and now it's like, shut the fuck up about Project X. Also, in your guys' hometowns, did everyone try to replicate that party?
Yes! I literally, there were so many people that were like, we're going to try and throw a Project X themed party. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Every time in Slidell, in the Dirty Dell, like they would be like, Project X party tonight, tell everybody. And then someone would tell their cop father, and then he would show up and be like, no. And we were like 13, 14. Like, shut the fuck up.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we're idiots.
I don't know if I was just not cool, but I didn't hear about any Project X parties.
Vanilla Boy rears his head.
I assure you, I wasn't cool in high school either. I played StarCraft 2 competitively. It's just you didn't live near degenerates.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I got bullied. I guess I was cool, but like they did Project X parties. They just wanted anyone and everyone to be there. So maybe,
because that's emulating the film, to my understanding. Anyway, hello and welcome back. If you've ever listened to us before.
If you haven't, what an intro.
What an episode to start with.
Welcome back. This is episode 17, part 4 of our Oscar season bracket. I'm Matthew.
I am Alex. I guess I'm the sober one.
And I'm drunk. I'm gonna get drunk. I'm Jake.
Yeah, welcome. He's still sober for now. His body hasn't started processing that alcohol.
It really hasn't. They know. They know my what are my telltale signs that I'm drunk? Y'all know?
One of the things you fucking love to do when you're drunk, but what you do is you go, all right, sober Jake. And you clap your hands and then immediately do some stupid drunk shit. It happens so fucking often.
That's fucking hilarious.
Drunk Jake does a lot of clapping and kicks.
Wait, I kick? I kick?
Wait, Jake, the fact that you don't know you kick, to me, that was just something that Jake did. It wasn't until this moment that I realized, I wonder if that's a thing that just drunk Jake does. And the fact that you don't know that you kick solidifies in my mind that is a drunk Jakeism.
Oh my God. I know I do sober Jake. I actually vividly know me saying sober Jake. The clapping is a little hazy, but
I have never been with you when you go sober Jake without clapping.
Helping the sound team, I'm slating, because my life is a fucking movie, guys. well, Skol, guys.
Coming at you later in this episode, we have the finals of our Oscar season bracket. So that is Another Round versus Palm Springs, two terrific movies. But before that, we've got our honorable mentions.
Hell yeah.
You guys sent them to us via social media, less than we would have liked. So honestly, kind of slacking, audience.
Matt once again is coming for our audience.
You know, it's really funny, and I need to say coherent thoughts before I get incoherent. But
I'm glad we're talking about the movies in the second half when you'll be incoherent. That's really good.
So I noticed the picture I put, because I usually do social media stuff, but you know, it's a shared whatever. But I put a picture of Sonic pre-edit in the car with Saoirse Ronan's character in Ladybird.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Ladybird.
Yeah. And,
Ladybird.
I got at least 2 or 3 movies from 2017 pitch because they thought I was talking about the 2017 Oscars.
Are you fucking with me? Is that actually true?
I'm not fucking with you.
That's awesome.
For one of my really good film friends, she was like, The Transfiguration. Never had a good chance of getting nods, was good. And then messaged me 2 hours later. She's like, wait, shit, you meant 2020, right? And then another one got pitched was Tangled. What year did Tangled come out? I think that
the Disney movie.
Yeah, I think the friend just really likes Tangled. I love her. She's great.
Yeah, it was 2010.
Oh, well then fuck me.
Wow.
Our audience hates us. You want to know what the only honorable mentions are from our audience? I'll mention them because they're very short and then we can get into ours. The Invisible Man, which is a good pick. I like that pick. People really liked that movie and I love the movie Ma, which shut the fuck up, make that shit end real quick. Twitter's blown up about Ma. Octavia Spencer randomly shows up on my timeline for Ma every couple of weeks and I fucking hate it, but I love it at the same time.
I saw that on our social media and I was like, do they mean that movie Ma? Or do they mean Ma Rainey? What do they actually?
They did not. We all know the person who pitched it, and it's definitely not Ma Rainey.
No, it's Ma. It's just Ma.
And then Birds of Prey, which was a fun one. But the person put it as a caveat. They were like, I realized I didn't see that many movies in 2020, so Birds of Prey. So take that how you will.
That's
which
fair.
I liked Birds of Prey. I thought it was a fun, passable DC movie. And Margot Robbie's a great Harley Quinn.
So good.
DC movies, considering you can split them into the category of passable and not passable, passable's pretty good.
Oh, fuck. This is delicious.
Yeah, I knew it would be. I'm so excited for you.
Audience, I'm going to do well. Also, it doesn't taste like alcohol at all. I'm fucked.
The fact that that's 8% and it's a tall boy, honestly, I'm sure that thing was dirt cheap. So honestly, it's probably a good investment.
$2.
It's funny that the person who said Birds of Prey as a caveat was like, I didn't see that many movies this year, because in preparation for this podcast, I was like, oh shit, I didn't see any movies this year. I need to watch some things. And one of the movies I watched was Birds of Prey and was considering putting it in the bracket because I did really enjoy it. Yeah, Birds of Prey was pretty good.
One was Palm Springs, though, and it's in our finale. So, you're clearly not doing awful.
Oh, yeah. I did see Palm Springs before preparing for this bracket.
You saw Palm Springs, Sonic, and Birds of Prey.
My Octopus Teacher, come on.
Oh, that's true. I also saw My Octopus Teacher. I saw a couple movies, not very many, but I saw a couple.
Do you want to throw one of your personal ones out, Jake?
Yeah, I'll start off with one that was nominated for other things, but just didn't get nominated for Best Picture. I fucking loved Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I'm a big fan of those films. I loved Fences. I think Denzel Washington should have fucking won the Oscar over Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea. I don't know. I loved Ma Rainey. I love the style of that playwright and the play stuff. Chadwick Boseman delivers a fucking phenomenal performance. Viola Davis, phenomenal. The whole cast, they deliver shit really, really well. And I remember that one really impacting me a lot. Yeah, it's just a very, very beautiful and great film. And one that I definitely am going to rewatch a lot. So Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Have you guys seen it?
I have, actually.
What do you think?
I enjoyed it. I was surprised you didn't put that in the bracket.
Yeah.
I had like this weird piece of like I had picked things for the bracket and then started ramping up watching movies for the Oscars. So some very good things that like I definitely wouldn't have picked over, say, Sonic. I watched. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it.
All right. Yeah. It's a good movie, dude. I mean, I people should read the play too. It's fucking fantastic. Sorry. Okay, I told people to read. I'm sorry. That's like usually Matthew's job as the fucking nerd of the podcast. He's simultaneously the nerd and the himbo of the podcast.
I'm the enlightened himbo. The himbo that wears glasses.
You're the Clark Kent of himbos.
I guess I'll throw one of mine out.
Yeah.
Low-key film that I don't know if either of you have seen.
Ooh.
We'll see. But Possessor?
Oh, that was the
I am going to scream, Jake, if you've actually seen this movie.
That's the horror. It's the horror movie. It's the agent, right? The secret organization shit. No, that's a great pick. Oh, I wish you would have picked it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually hadn't seen it until like halfway through our bracket. I sort of randomly watched it on recommendation from a friend of mine because it hadn't hit my radar, which is kind of surprising considering.
Like, no one in its cast or like director. It's like
fun fact. The lead is actually Mandy from Mandy.
Wait, you're right.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I noticed it like halfway through the film and had to look it up. And I was like, oh my God, that's so fun. She does like Mandy's like a super subdued role, but obviously Possessor, she plays the lead. It is such a fun romp. The sales pitch I'll give, because I'm sure most people haven't heard of this film.
It's a good movie.
Basically, this woman is a corporate assassin wherein she commits her assassinations by being able to take over the body of other people. It is so much fun. I love it so much. Sorry to cut you off, but I love it so much just because it's like it's such a good blend of like the horror sci-fi genre that that's what I love about it. The horror begins to seep in as she starts to lose control of like what is self and what is reality from having to take control of other people so frequently and possess their bodies. It's a really fun movie.
Do you want to know another fun fact about the lead actress? She was in the movie Oblivion. Skol!
I'll drink to that.
Oh, God. She was Victoria in the 2013 film Oblivion with Tom Cruise, which actually is a pretty good movie.
Which we actually shared a photo from Tom Cruise in that film earlier today on our social media.
Holy shit, we did.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a photo from that movie? Interesting.
The one with Sonic and Lady Bird in the car. That was from Oblivion, Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Man, the future that they imagined in that movie is crazy.
I thought you were going to pitch something, Alex.
What do you got?
No, I was saying the future where Saoirse Ronan and Sonic ride around in a car together is crazy.
Seriously?
Did you call her the Game of Thrones character Cersei?
No, Saoirse. How do you say her name?
Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse?
Yeah, Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse. Don't worry, I'll cut they'll cut the whole goof out.
Appreciate that. Yeah, the part with Saoirse Ronan. Just kidding. A movie that I didn't see that I remember seeing trailers for and thought it was going to be really good, and I don't even know if it's eligible.
Are you pitching this for an honorable mention?
This is an honorable mention because I'm sure it was a good movie, but I don't know if it was eligible because it technically, Google is telling me the release date was January 29th, 2021, and I don't know when the cutoff was.
It's probably eligible.
But the movie Supernova, there was the Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth.
I never saw that one.
Like
it
road trip.
Good, though. Yeah.
The trailers looked so good, and I never saw it, but I imagine it was really good.
I haven't even heard of it.
How was that going to connect before to what you were talking about? You're like, I don't want to run out of honorable mentions.
Oh, no. This actually was not the movie that I was thinking of at the time.
I was like, did you mention Stanley Tucci?
I had a movie that I did actually see. But yeah, I love Stanley Tucci, and I love Colin Firth, and I imagine that this was very good. So if anyone saw Supernova, hit us up.
Yeah, Alex's energy with pitching things is so fucking funny to me. Like,
but look, audience. Let me level with you for a second. If you've seen Supernova, tweet at us, Message us on Instagram. Hit us up on the socials at Tough Cut Pod. We're out there. We're on that grind. If you want to, leave a review for the show on Apple. Follow us on Spotify. Oh, wait, what was I talking about?
On the Apple Tough Cut page, leave a review for Supernova. That's a way to surefire. We'll see it. We check our Apple reviews. We check our Gmail, toughcutpod@gmail.com. We check our Gmail every day.
Actually, if you leave a review for Supernova in our podcast reviews on Apple, it may get removed. However, we'll copy it and we will post it as a review of Supernova on Letterboxd.
Oh, yeah. You know what? This is a weird time to pitch it, but all I need to say is that I really need to eat something. I have a protein bar here.
Cool. Okay. Well, while Jake eats a protein bar, another film that I will be damned.
What are you saying?
that Jake.
Wow, Jake actually is eating a protein bar into the microphone. That was not a bit. That was not him crinkling some like paper or anything. He is
so
eating a protein.
This is riveting content. But a movie I will be damned that the Oscars didn't let it into contention because of some rules about having a release, and it was a limited release before it got its wide release in the US. Fuck you, the Oscar. Fuck you, Oscar. But Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I sat there as we were talking about this bracket and I was like, does this movie count, Jake? Like, am I allowed to put this in?
Yeah.
It doesn't count.
It doesn't count, but it's like bullshit. That movie is fucking fantastic. That's a phenomenal film.
It's a great film. And the thing is, because of like the way the releases pan out, it was like literally never possible for Oscar contention, which is so fucked.
You know,
it like
what?
Makes me so mad.
It's either studio meddling where like they did it on purpose because they didn't want it, like they didn't think it would do well, which is fucked up.
Sure. If you don't campaign for something, they won't ever pick it.
But that's the issue. Like, they didn't think that kind of a story, a fucking amazing story that people really love,
it's a good
could
movie.
Be nominated. Like, that's fucked. Yeah. An honorable mention that's kind of like on the fence. A lot of people that I know didn't like. Shut up. My words don't mean things. Skol.
Oh, wow.
One of mine that I was thinking of picking because I genuinely really enjoyed it, but I know people didn't. I'm thinking of Ending Things. I genuinely like that movie.
Addict.
Yeah, I guess I did pitch adaptation too. I genuinely liked it. I know people have had genuine problems with the movie. I get it. I don't know. I just thought it was like brilliant performance from both of those lead actors. And I like Charlie Kaufman's writing, even though it's like based on a book or whatever, and his ending's different. I don't know. I just really fuck with weird. I fuck with films that make me feel like, what? You know?
I have not seen or read. I'm thinking of Ending Things.
Wait, you haven't seen it?
I have not, actually.
Wait, really, Matthew? That blows my dick. I mean, my mind.
Trying to get your dick sucked, Jake? Because I got a dick sucking robot I'm about to send you.
What an energy this episode has, huh, guys?
Yeah, I haven't actually seen or read it. However, for what it's worth, you being like, it is a book, but the ending's different. There's a little something that you pitched called Adaptation that's about Charlie Kaufman changing the ending of a story and an entire story.
Wow, guys, I'm reading through like a list of movies that came out this year, and I forgot so many movies that came out this year. One that I actually saw and enjoyed, Enola Holmes, I thought was really good.
I'm gonna disagree hardly, but
oh, really?
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
What did you not like about it, Jake?
I didn't like seeing Millie Bobby Brown interact with fucking Superman. It was jarring to me.
Henry Cavill?
Yeah.
He's a beautiful man.
Millie Bobby Brown, like, scares me. I feel like she would come up with a pocket knife and stab me in the ribs.
Wow.
Are you afraid for Henry Cavill that he's going to get stabbed by Millie Bobby Brown?
I don't think those muscles, like, there was that one Twitter video from him in Mission Impossible where he literally, like, fucking cocks his arms and they, like, his mustache grows. And I'm like,
awesome.
That's fucking scary.
Sick.
I still believe Millie Bobby Brown can take him in a fight. I'm just gonna randomly say these films because I think they're fantastic. The movie First Cow, fantastic. The Small Axe series, Steve McQueen, all those are fucking phenomenal. And people should watch them. They didn't get nominated because they're like technically TV. Like I don't know. They're
dumb. Like a limited series, I think technically.
I hate the Oscars. Whatever. I still think Minari was a fantastic film, and it should have been like.
I need to see it.
Yeah. And La Llorona. It was an international horror film based on the
good one. Okay.
Yeah, the good one.
We know when you hear that, you think of the American one. I assume that's not the one you're talking about. The one with the he's like a politician or a general or something.
It's like a political horror movie, and that's
we're talking about the same movie. Yeah. Oh my god, it was really good. That came out this year?
Yeah, it got nominated for Best International Film for a lot of circuits, but I don't think this one for Oscars.
It was good.
And
it was good.
It was fantastic. Those are the ones I just want to shout out because I genuinely love those films and think they should be shouted out.
Some movies I want to shout out. Other movies that came out this year. We've got Scoob. Of course,
Scoob is good.
Animation.
Scoob was fucking good. My nephew loves Scoob.
Actually good.
Scoob is one of those where like it's like SpongeBob, like the original movie, where like they make so many awesome jokes for no good reason.
It's like actually funny.
No, it's funny as hell.
That is hysterical. I thought Scoob was going to be truly terrible, so I did not see it. That's wild that it's actually good. Crazy.
Scoob,
honestly, I guess, legitimate honorable mention.
Out of all of us, Alex, you would enjoy Scoob the most.
I bet I would love Scoob. I bet I would.
Skol.
I'll do another
Okay, you're still doing it.
Skol. There you go.
Okay.
Wow, that's so funny that you guys both saw Scoob and both really liked it.
It's a really good movie.
So with those amazing honorable mentions in our pocket, that wasn't the most incoherent babble you guys have ever heard because I edited to be really nice, audience.
Trolls World Tour came out this year.
That movie also kind of fucked.
There is no escaping this hell.
The first one was really good. I didn't see the second one.
Which one is the one?
Does Hamilton as a movie count on Disney Plus?
It does because it got nominated for things, right?
Did it really?
Yeah, I don't even know, it got nominated for an Oscar.
Good. Okay, I'm trying really.
Yeah, keep going. You got this.
Wow.
Choo choo.
Thanks for all those honorable mentions. They're so fantastic. It was an incoherent mess, but we got through it. And now we have the content that's just as legitimate as the first half of the episode. That is the finals of our Oscar season bracket.
And I'm going to be sober for all of it.
Just listening to Jake eat his protein bar in the background of Matt finally moving on.
On one side, we have Palm Springs, passing by Da 5 Bloods and Borat's subsequent movie film to make its way to the finals. Triumphant victories in both cases. And then on the bottom side of the bracket, we have Another Round, triumphing over Sound of Metal, the only actual Best Picture nominee in this bracket.
Something to consider, fellas.
True. And then after that, beating the titan that is not just Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, conquering the very essence and being of James Marsden himself. Making its way to the finals, we have Another Round. So, Palm Springs versus Another Round.
These are directed by Thomas Vinterberg did Another Round. Who did Palm Springs?
I was going to say you guys can introduce them because you guys pitched them.
Oh, that's
Palm
right.
Springs was by Max Barbacow.
I mean, they know by this point. Another Round's just a bunch of teachers who get drunk. One of them to the point of oblivion. Skol!
All of them to the point of oblivion. That's the whole purpose of one of the scenes.
How it affects their social and professional lives, and it's really beautiful. What's Palm Springs about, Alec?
It's kind of the same thing, except it's the same day. So it's Andy Samberg getting really, really drunk, living the same day over and over again, just having a good time, trying to live life without pain. And then Sarah gets trapped in the time loop with him, and it's like life has meaning, I guess.
We'll
Crazy
talk about
how
it.
that happens when you share experiences with someone else.
So we have two fantastic movies. Anyone have a point we want to start on, or
Point
Okay,
is
Jake, go
that my only Matthew's gonna be so mad that he made me go first because I said my only point is that I'm gonna drink more. All right, Skol. Let's continue comparing
Is
these
that
movies.
really?
this is the last shot I'm doing with you, Jake.
Until the end. We'll do another one at the end, and then I'll just continue drinking. Because I have to, okay, you know, with another round, there's the levels, right? We have 0.05, we have, what's the second one? I don't know what it's called.
And so they have 0.05, which is humans are born with a BAC 0.05% too low. Then you have 0.10, and then finally Oblivion. Alex has limited himself.
Yeah, I've been like sipping beers this whole time, so I guess I'm around 0.05. Matt was drinking beforehand, and he's been just taking swigs of whiskey and kind of, you know, chilling throughout the whole night. So he's probably, you know, 0.1.
I've expedited this process to bring you love and happiness. I'm going to plug this hardcore on all my private socials.
Do it. Honestly,
this is going to be the episode Jake tells everyone to listen to first now.
Start with the one that I drink a lot in short succession. That's a good one.
I was going to say, Jake, if you want to keep drinking after this, you're in Central Time. So, like, might as well.
Yeah, that's how it works. In the morning. Nah. Doesn't care. Actually, cut that out. Don't actually use that. I'll get in legal trouble.
Guys, The Croods: A New Age came out this year.
Okay,
Crazy.
I swear to fucking God, no more. We're going to talk about
Matthew,
these movies.
You had a really good point. Can we compare? I actually do have a point, but like Matthew, go first.
I have two. The second one I'll save for a little later. The first one, this was sort of just as I was thinking about these two movies earlier today. And I think that there's an interesting comparison and observation of like where our protagonists start and end each story.
That's good.
Namely, you know, if we're thinking about where they start each story, you have Martin, who's dealing with his failing marriage and his complete loss of his sense of self to time as he's aged. And then in Palm Springs, you kind of have the duo leads of Sarah, who it's implied, not so subtly, that she is potentially a bit of an alcoholic and has caused problems for her family in the past. And then Niles, who has lost himself in this time loop, lost himself to time yet again, and to the point where he can't even remember much about his old life, about what he used to actually do, what he did for work. Seems he's not been very happy in his relationship. And then where they end these movies, Martin rediscovering himself versus Niles kind of discovering a new sense of self in relation to Sarah, I think is like a cool kind of, not quite parallel, because they're not quite ships passing in the night. Right. You know, maybe have some intersecting pieces.
I'm so glad you brought this up, because this was one of the conversations that I wanted to have. We talked a little bit last time about the similarity between the coming of age story and the midlife crisis. And I think in a really interesting way, both of these movies are midlife crises. Like Another Round very clearly is. But I think Palm Springs is like very subtly the same themes and the same kind of idea, because Niles, although he's very young, and Sarah as well, both of them are kind of at this point where they get stuck in this time loop. Niles has like totally lost who he is. Life is meaningless. He's literally living the same day over and over and over again. And like the rediscovery of finding new things in life to enjoy is, I think, paramount to the themes of a midlife crisis story. And I think it's so interesting the way that they parallel.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because like you talk about like midlife crises, and we alluded to before how like, you know, midlife crises are like coming of age films in a way where it's like you come of age in your midlife, which is like a really weird thing. Maybe that's a hint. I don't know. I'm drinking. And
wow, Jake, you're so subtle. You're so subtle and so tactful. The way you drop clues into conversation.
James Marsden.
Anyway, it's interesting thinking about Palm Springs being like Miles and what's her character's
Niles
name?
And Sarah.
Sarah. It is Sarah. Okay, I was gonna say Sarah. I promise I was gonna say Sarah. Don't laugh at me, you
Miles
little...
and what's her name?
Oh, I said Miles instead of Niles. Shit.
You did.
Cool.
You did.
Anyways, how Niles and Sarah, they come of age because they've lived like what, like. We talked about the timeline, but like 1,000 lives, like 1,000 days.
It's
like
implied
it's a long
very
ass
long time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that if they're both going to come of age, and what is their conclusions for both of them? Because I think the conclusions are what's like a good parallel for like what's the message of like these films in their end. If they're both coming of age, what is like the conclusion of Palm Springs, where like, you know, they're laying in the spoiler warning, by the way, we're going to be spoiling these movies.
They've already theoretically you've been spoiled, audience.
But I love my audience, so I'm going to tell them.
It's important. Thank you. Before you spoil the ending of Palm Springs, Jake, for the first time in this series.
Yeah, but anyway, they get out of the time loop and they like are sitting there, you know, with at their private like home, and they batch into it. They're like, oh, we're gonna start a life together. We're gonna try this thing. And then with Mads Mikkelsen's character, which I forgot his name, Martin. It's Martin. No, fuck you. I said it before you did. Ha 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 ha.
Wait, did you say Mads Mikkelsen or Mads Nicholson?
It's Mads Mikkelsen. That's his name.
I know, but I thought you said Nicholson.
No, I said Nicholson. I swear. I swear
Jack
I fucking
Nicholson.
said. I swear I said.
Here's Martin.
I swear I said Mickelson, I promise. Anyway, his conclusion is very different because, like, you know, his wife or his ex-wife like says, okay, I miss you, but he dances at the end. He goes on the river. He does the drinking. Does he go back to her?
We talked about this in the first episode.
Both of these movies kind of have these like uncertain endings. Like, Niles and Sarah get out of the time loop, but it's not like okay, we're in love and we're going to get married and the rest of our life is figured out. It's like, we're going to try to do this, you know? It's like the rest of our lives is uncertain, which I think is the whole point of the movie of you shouldn't know what comes next. You should live your life the moment to moment, trying to enjoy it, but also knowing that the uncertainty is what makes it beautiful.
For another round, right?
What?
No, what?
He was talking about Palm Springs.
I don't really. I
know.
I honestly am kind of confused by the ending of Another Round. I don't really know that I understand what Martin is thinking at the end of the movie, which I think is, I guess, some of the hesitation I have with it. So I'm interested to see what your interpretations of the ending are.
So I specifically have talked about this already. So to avoid retreading too much of the same thing, in my opinion, it is this learning to live in both excess and moderation. It's learning to sort of find that balance between the two things. It's this approach to Aristotelian philosophy of it, learning to indulge and learning to moderate oneself. And what I think is emblematic of that is there's a difference in when Martin drinks at the end of the film versus every other time. So it's established early on that Martin, the character, and also Mads Mikkelsen, the person, were both dancers. And throughout the film, they continually try and goad Martin into dancing, and he never does it until the final scene of the film where he celebrates with the students and dances with them. I think that is meant to be sort of symbolize this embracing of who he used to be, the capturing of his old life, and sort of learning to like the balance of life with alcohol, because the movie chiefly is both a condemnation and a celebration of alcohol culture in I guess Denmark specifically, but obviously that applies to other places as well.
New Orleans.
I mean, many, many countries, many, many places, you know.
Nah, just New Orleans and Denmark. There are two places in the world, New Orleans and Denmark.
And there's only one other man who drank like Mads Mikkelsen and was also a dancer, and that's Leonardo DiCaprio. And that's why I'm so excited for the American remake.
It's me, bitch.
There is meant to be significance on his decision to dance just as much as there is meant to be significance on his decision to drink. And this time it's for a different reason.
But okay, Matthew, like I challenge you to compare that to Palm Springs, though. Like I know how like Another Round ends and like that beautiful like poetry of what it's saying, but imply it to Niles' decision to, you know, join in that loop and do like he was in the loop longer than Sarah.
Much longer.
We know that.
And
much
implied
longer.
To be much longer.
Much longer. he's literally getting out of this like crisis and all this for this one person. Like, what does that mean in relation and the relationship that Martin has with his wife, and like the decision he has to drink, celebrate the excess, the moderation, everything. Like, what does it mean to compare like their two endings? Because I feel like they're paralleled in a way, but
I think comparing the situations, it's very interesting because in a I guess complicated way, Niles being stuck in this time loop, living the same day over and over again, there's a safety in it, in that, he knows everything that could ever happen. So he can avoid pain as much as possible. And in a very similar way, Martin being in the marriage, living days as if they are disinteresting and nothing is happening, it's safe because nothing will change. Mm-hmm. And, if he doesn't confront his wife that he's unhappy and that, maybe she was cheating on him, they don't have to confront it and they don't have to deal with it. So I think it's very interesting the way that I think the time loop specifically as a plot device emphasizes these things that we experience in life without exactly being in that situation,
Yeah, I actually, that's sort of the heart of the similarity, I think, between these two films, that, that was what I was kind of trying to get at in my like opening comparison between the two, in that Martin has lost himself to time through that disinterest you're getting at. And in the same way, or not in the same way, but sort of a paralleled outcome, Niles has done much the same. Yeah. So like in a very roundabout way, I think the state the protagonists are in at the beginning of the film are very similar to one another. And there is sort of this open question still of what does it look like at the end of each film,
I think specific imagery at the end of the film, I think, is so interesting because the contrast between them is so stark. Niles and Sarah are sitting motionless in this pool of water, right? Compared to Mads Mikkelsen dancing. It's like they find peace and stillness versus he finds this freedom.
In a pool of water.
Right. I think that the contrast between the endings is so interesting.
Mm-hmm. This is the most why I'm conflicted between these two movies, is because I talked about how Martin is dealing with this stagnation of just like, he's feeling like the scene that sticks out to me, and I didn't get to highlight and talk about the scene, and I really want to, is when he is like literally being a teacher and he's being confronted by his students and the parents that he's failing them. Like, Martin is really losing it here. He's like, they're literally like, he literally says, didn't I tell you? Like, didn't I tell you what it's a different, intense, like emotional response to like being stagnant. And I've never thought of that as like as a teacher. Like, I never reached a point in my like educational career where I was like, I need to tell my teacher, like have a meeting and be like, what the fuck is going on? And in the inverse with Palm Springs, Niles is so beaten down and he's clearly tried like everything, but there's like a really dark interpretation of like Niles in the beginning of this film. Like, it's depressing. It's really like, we go into nihilism. We go into this like it's
Thank you for that.
I got you.
Set
Skol
up
for myself.
something I wanted to talk about so beautifully. Of course, if there's more to get to the end of your point, you certainly can finish it.
I want you guys to feed off. Go.
Something I think is so interesting is I don't interpret Niles at the beginning of the film as being like hopeless or apathetic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He certainly is nihilistic, which...
Yes.
But he's resigned. He's content.
Exactly.
Which I think is the most tragic part of his existence.
Well, that's the thing, though, is I think that it's I think that being content in it doesn't necessarily make it. I don't know where this point's going.
That protein bar didn't help me, and I'll say it, audience. I'm feeling it more and more. And the peanut butter chocolate bar, I'm not going to say the name because they're not going to get money off of us. Fuck you, vendor. It's not
this is
doing
the difference
for me.
This is how you guys know we ask good products to sponsor us, and we don't ask bad products to sponsor us. So when we eventually monetize and we go corporate and we're like, hey, give us money, you know that you're only going to get premium quality ads. Premium quality advertisements from the Tough Cut Boys, guys.
Yeah. Because I'm totally sure that we're gonna sell out and have sweet ads on this show.
Motherfucker, if you had an opportunity to sell out, would you?
Depends the
Mr.
offer.
Corporate sellout?
I'm pretty tempted by all the people on Instagram reaching out to us, asking us to sponsor their balls razors.
Try to get my balls shaved.
I just kicked my water over. That's not a good sign.
Hey, audience, I'm here to tell you about myballsgotshaved.com. And my balls are silky smooth after using their product.
I can contest. His balls are silky smooth. I did the test to make sure.
What's the test?
It's just his
Yeah, it's good.
2 shakes and a wiggle.
Well,
Wow, quality content, guys.
Don't
We're on.
all right, fine. Don't make me drink more. Oh my god, guys, stop it! Oh, they're,
Jake, no.
they're forcing me. No,
Jake, no, Jake, stop, please.
the point I want to there isn't really a point
Nah, you
to
had a
it specifically. Well, there's like multiple things I want to talk about, and we're left with such little time. I don't know how to make this natural from what we were last talking about. I guess I can have the comedy interjection,
how do you want me to make it natural?
Else.
I could do a
no.
How do you want
good.
me to make it natural? I could do
I can
biggity boop. Matthew's gonna say a thing.
Thank you, Jake. So.
Wow, so natural.
I had more I wanted to talk about on nihilism, but we are pushing time here, unfortunately. And the guy with the philosophy degree can't start peddling shit about philosophy again. I was allowed to do that
Jake,
once.
keep bullshitting. He won't be able to talk about philosophy.
You're not gonna talk about philosophy? How about you talk about philosophy, bitch? All right, Skol. For myself, not you guys.
Jake, how do you think you would react about being caught in a time loop?
Be in a time loop in my current state.
What?
Yeah.
What? Like you as a human being in a time
where
loop.
you are in life. How do you think you would do in a time loop?
Yeah, not
if
like
I had
you.
to repeat this day.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Is it this day?
Yeah, this today. Today you're stuck in a time loop.
Jesus. So I have to go to work for 13, 12 hours and then get drugged for a podcast.
Or you just
okay.
don't go to work. You're stuck in a time loop.
That's true.
If you know that tomorrow is going to be today, do you have to go to work? Exactly. Yeah.
That's true. I'm in New Orleans, so that's a good place to be in a time loop, I'd say. But I'm also, a lot of my friends,
I feel like there's a lot
close
to do.
friends aren't here.
Yeah.
Shout out Matthew, Alex. I'd fuck them. I'd fuck with them.
Hell yeah, got my smooth balls.
Checking out Matthew's smooth balls.
2 shakes and a wiggle. That's what I always say.
2 shakes and a wiggle.
Honestly, in a fucked up way, I feel like I'd handle a time loop really well with the way I handle chaos. Like, I really lean into that kind of a thing. I feel like naturally, my day is already looped in a way, and I try to make it be awesome no matter what.
But do you think you would still retain that same feeling if you had lived the same day a million times?
There's no way of knowing, but I know the one thing I know is that I would do some fucked up shit. Like I would murder someone. Like straight up, I would.
You would get into the craziness really quickly. It would be like
that's
a couple
what I'm saying.
weeks,
Like
and
it wouldn't
you'd be
take 1,000 days. It'd be like, okay, if I'm for sure in 3 days, I'm in a time loop. I'm killing someone day 4. Like, is that a condemnation of my name? Hopefully not.
Who do you kill though?
Matthew is saying this, but anyways, I really would. I would do some wild, crazy. I mean, I do shit for the bit, anyways. Like, I'd probably be naked a lot more.
I've seen your dick more times than.
You're gonna leave this in the podcast, aren't you? You're gonna leave my dick exposed to you in the podcast more than all of the other jokes that I made prior to this comment, aren't you? I hate you so much. Whatever, you're allowed to.
If you want to,
you're allowed to. This is me giving my verbal consent of showing you my penis.
Guys, we've all seen Jake's dick, you know?
But you guys liked it and were impressed, and it was consensual?
Yeah,
Jake, it's very impressive, and it was very consensual.
Thank you.
Yeah, I consented.
Okay, I want to hear Matthew say he was impressed.
Something we have yet to talk about with another round, and I just want to talk about because it was one of the most emotionally impactful scenes of the entire movie. When Martin drinks to oblivion with his group of friends and is picked up by his son on the ground outside of their neighbor's house, and they have a confrontation with their family, and his son remarks something to the semblance of like, we know you've been doing this for a long time, like you've been drunk for a while now. And like from the entire movie up until that point has been framed from Martin's perspective of his own drinking. And that is like the first time that we get confronted by someone outside of it about Martin's drinking habits. It is such an emotionally powerful scene. And I wanted to bring it up because it is just so incredibly acted from all angles. I remember basically being in disbelief watching it unfold, of like, this confrontation feels so real, so uncomfortable, so raw. It was so good.
So what I will say, Matthew, I'm actually glad you brought that up. And just in general, a genuine point when I was debating these films in my head and also hearing our conversations now, I genuinely love both these movies. I've mentioned it before. Palm Springs feels like such a comfort film for me, where I was like, I feel like I could have wrote this. Like, it feels like genuinely a story that I could tell, I could write. It feels like it genuinely feels personal to me in the cadence of how two humans interact when they're falling in love. And with Another Round, I just feel like there are so many more almost of those moments, of those like, wait, shit, not necessarily I could write this, but I can understand this and I feel this. And that really impacted me watching Another Round. And like, it's hard. It's a hard film to watch in those small moments because it's a fun film. It's fun. But when it gets not fun, then you're like, shit, like, I know. And that's what's fucked up about it in a beautiful way.
It gets super real. The way that Mads Mikkelsen acts that scene is so brilliant. His response, like the way that he gets angry, because it's so clear that he's getting angry because he likes who he is drinking, you know, like he's happy with who he becomes. And that just makes it so much sadder.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's really good.
He yells that, like, no one's gonna wait for me. Like, no one's gonna fucking wait. That really hit me. I don't know. What were you gonna say, Matthew? Because I know you're sitting on a bunch of talking points.
In relation to kind of these heavy moments, I think what sets up this scene of him being confronted by his family is a couple scenes before. There's him and his family on his camping trip, and they show a black screen, BAC 0.00%, and he has this really intimate moment with his wife where she remarks that he's a different person, and it's sort of played with of like, is it a good thing or a bad thing in the way that she's remarking it? And then immediately following that, they show him so close to rejecting falling to the temptation of alcohol yet again, on the night they drink to oblivion. Like, just the way that sequence of scenes are strung together, just it's so incredibly powerful. And it's so beautifully done.
Honestly, like this, I don't know if it's because I've been drinking this whole episode or whatever, and I'm getting to the point where sentimental. Sober Jake's gonna talk now.
And there's the clap.
This movie just meant a lot to me, like with the way like he talked, like those moments of realization and those moments of, even without Martin, just like the shit, like even with Specs, like really fucking hurt me. And like I don't know, I just how I take the ending and just everything, and like in general is like he was finally present, and like I try so hard to be present, and this is tipsy drunk Jake speaking, but like whatever, like I try so hard to be present in the most chaotic way that I can find. And like part of that is resembled in Palm Springs, genuinely, because like you have to live a chaotic, wild life to even feel like you can go on existing, you know, in a fucking time loop. But for this, it was just like, I don't know, like you're there, and it just, the impacts that it had on me were so like sudden, and it has a bunch of other commentary that's good too. Like we never talked about it, and I was hoping maybe this would go up against Borat 2 in a way, because like remember when they had those political, like the world leaders section about like that whole montage with the whole like drinking and political leaders,
talking
and like
about Churchill,
even
FDR
without the whole
Hitler.
like speech he did, but like the whole like montage with all the leaders drinking and like, you know, the clips of them. Like,
okay, that's what you're referring to. Not
both of
his
them,
in
like
class.
both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's just like this film hits so many boxes for me. Like it checks so many boxes, and it was so poignant, fun, emotionally impactful, and not just in its main character. And I feel like that's also important to me. I love caring about other people on the side. Like that's great filmmaking, and I'm gonna drink more.
Thanks, Jake.
You know what I really enjoy about it is that it has this whole thing about like the whole premise of why they kind of start doing it is that they're like testing the scientific theory of like, oh, humans are born with this blood alcohol content deficiency. But the movie doesn't like come to a conclusion on it because they end up going too far, you know? Like it's not like the movie I appreciate that because it's framed so much from a perspective of like they have the black screens like Matt brought up where they show like what their blood alcohol content is and it's framed as if it's going to be this scientific experiment. I just appreciate that it doesn't come to a conclusion on it. I think well done.
That's one of the really beautiful things about this movie is that it is like a really honest look from a lot of perspectives on drinking culture in Denmark. Like that is one of the things that's so important about this movie being set where it is it is about Danish drinking culture in such a powerful way. Like in it like I don't think Vinterberg wants to come to some grand conclusion that alcohol is either good or bad because it is
true. I agree 100%.
Kind of both of those things. It's muddied. It's very muddied. And I think that's part of what he wants you to come out of the film feeling. And he communicates it really, really well.
I just think, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but the whole like people viewing Another Round as a film where like it celebrated alcoholism or whatever, it's just so unfortunate for people because like it's just genuinely not what that film's about.
It's misunderstanding it hugely.
And it's hard because the reason why I really fuck with Palm Springs in this versus is because it had no right being what it was and how it subverted so much. And Another Round, it feels way more purposeful, but still subversive. Does that make sense? Like it's like Palm Springs had no reason being what it was, and then it was. But Another Round was like it. You could tell that Thomas Vinterberg had a purpose and executed it so beautifully.
No one would have expected Palm Springs to be like an intelligent deconstruction of time loops. Yeah. Whereas Vinterberg went into creating Another Round as sort of this subversive piece on drinking culture.
And after his like daughter passed away so tragically, like this filmmaker, it's beautiful. It's beautiful what happened. And I'm glad it won Best International Oscar, but like it really should have been considered for more. I just feel like it's such a great film. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard.
I mean, I think though that it's crazy, like as good as Palm Springs is, that it wasn't even nominated.
Fucking ludicrous that Palm Springs was nominated for even writing. I think screenplay. Absolutely.
It should have been. It's because the Oscars doesn't give a shit about comedies. They don't give a shit about sci-fi. They don't give a shit about horror. They only care about their little frame of like self-masturbatory stuff, like whatever. Fuck you.
And I think that's why we did this bracket. No, like straight up, like whoever wins, generally whoever got, like we say this about everyone who's nominated for like the Tough Cuts like series, but whoever gets nominated, especially for the Oscars season bracket, like we love you for a fucking reason, you know? Like shut the fuck up, both of you giggling at me, you little bitches.
And my God, do we love James Marsden?
My God.
That's why Sonic is in this bracket, baby.
No, because like, okay, maybe Sonic.
No, these movies are critically valuable.
Wait, hold on. Jake, were you about to say that Sonic shouldn't have been in this bracket?
Yeah, what the fuck,
I was saying that Sonic should have been nominated, just maybe not for Best Picture. It should have been Best Anime. I agree, it should have been an animated. I agree 100% solely based on one, James Marsden, but two, the fact that they fucking bullied a studio into remaking a thing and it was fantastic. That's a big deal.
Those animators who fixed Sonic,
they deserve an award, dude. They deserve a million awards. That's all I'm going to say. Skol to myself.
All dogs go to heaven, and so do the animators of Sonic.
So I'm going to finish my drink and then I'm going to vote. And that's my criteria for this episode.
I know who I'm voting for. So I can vote. I can start us off.
I know who I'm voting for, and I feel like I know who you guys are voting for, too.
I'm pregnant. That's not even a joke. Why did I say that?
Okay.
Shut up,
Drink
everybody.
your drink. I, starting things off, a confident, resounding decision. Even though we didn't even get to talk about the philosophies of these two movies, I started off this bracket. Sound of Metal was my favorite movie I saw the entire year.
Oh, that's interesting.
Getting here, without a doubt, the best movie I saw in 2020. My best picture was Another Round.
Skol.
And there he goes.
I have one more sip left.
I completely agree with you, Matt. Another Round was a brilliant movie, but I enjoy a deeper dip into comedy. So I voted for Palm Springs.
Wait, fuck, don't leave it up to me.
Which means it is all down to Jake. Jake, what did you write down?
I don't think you wrote anything down.
Here's the thing. My motor skills aren't great. But here's the thing. I'm going to do one last Skol because genuinely, for some God-forsaken reason, I have literally one sip left and I'm about to vote. I didn't plan this because I don't plan shit when I drink. So I'm going to say one more Skol and then I'm going to say what I drank.
All right, Jake. Let's
Skol.
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 Jesus. Skol, you bastards.
Don't throw up.
Don't throw up on the podcast, Jake, please.
I voted for Another Round. Genuinely, I really love both these movies, but like Another Round just hits me in such an emotional capacity that Palm Springs does, but it's like a little bit more like fun, but just fun. And Another Round is fun, but more. And that's why I voted for Another Round.
Look, just to tease you, audience, there was this really beautiful bit I had unfortunately written about because I can't be helped. The approach to nihilism in Palm Springs is incredibly admirable and incredibly nuanced. Unfortunately, you'll have to be waiting for that.
For the next bracket where we put Palm Springs in. Wait a second, guys, I totally forgot. We were going to announce our next bracket at the end of this episode.
Though Another Round wins the Oscar season.
Oh yeah, congrats to Another Round. Another Round is such a beautiful movie. It's so good. I'm totally happy with it winning. It is an incredible movie. You should absolutely watch it.
Wait, this is the first movie that movie I pitched won. Yay!
Jake, congratulations!
I had to get fucking drunk for it to happen. I hate everyone.
It's a great movie. Absolutely watch it. Please don't watch it when they make an American remake because they don't need to make an American remake. Please just watch the international release.
Watch Palm Springs also. It's so good. I know we've said that about like every movie in this bracket. But I meant it when I said it. It was one of like my 3 favorite movies of 2020. It is so much smarter than it has any right to be, so much better, so much funnier than it has any right to be. It's a very good movie. Our next bracket. What the heck are we doing?
What the heck is it going to be? Jake, what's our next bracket?
I hate you so much.
What did you post on social media, Jake? There were 2 things in that image. Which one of them is relevant to our next bracket?
I posted a hint before anyone ever knew. Oh, I hate that they're making me do this right now. I drank so much quickly. I posted a picture.
I did think that Jake was going to throw up before he voted.
No, but I didn't.
That's where Jake is at.
Because I'm Mads Mikkelsen, bitch, and I'm a dancer, and we'll
have him on the show, and we'll go shot for shot with him. Let's see what's his real alcohol tolerance.
He literally went to drinking school for this film. I definitely could not outdrink him, but I probably could. Anyway.
What's our next bracket?
Yeah, so I posted a picture of Sonic sitting next to Saoirse Ronan in Lady Bird, and guess what? Our next bracket is coming of age movies, baby. Let's go!
Woo!
Hell yeah. James Marsden making another appearance in the bracket. He can't be stopped, and neither can Sonic. Because it's coming back.
No,
later.
Wait. No one should pitch Sonic for coming of age. Please, none of us, please.
I'm just kidding. So coming at you next episode, we've got Perks of Being a Wallflower versus Booksmart, and another fantastic matchup with This Is England versus Jojo Rabbit.
So
that one's going to be good.
Coming of age is like a very important genre for me, so I'm very excited. I just want to issue out before anyone watches content warnings for This Is England. It's heavy use of racist, anti-Semitic, bigoted like belief and language. There's depictions of Nazism in both Jojo Rabbit and This Is England. And for Perks of Being a Wallflower, there are mentions of abuse and suicide. So please be mindful of that when you're watching. And yeah.
keep those in mind before you watch those next few movies for the first episode of our coming of age bracket. However, coming at you in episode 19, just to tell you what's in the rest of the bracket, we've got 8th Grade versus How to Train Your Dragon and The Way, Way Back versus Lady Bird. So there is actually a tie-in to what Jake posted on social media.
Yeah, no, I didn't just make shit up. Honestly, I'm conflicted about every single one of these matchups. I'm so excited for coming in.
Yeah, this is going to be really good.
I love this
so
category.
It should be a lot of fun, and for the most part, much lighter than heavy commentary on drinking culture in foreign nations.
Skol! I don't have any more to drink, I promise, audience.
Thank you guys so much for listening. This was the Tough Cut Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Letterboxd at Tough Cut Pod. We post things. They're kind of fun to read. But thank you guys so much for listening. We really enjoy doing the podcast, and we appreciate that you enjoy listening.
Leave a review for
Supernova on Apple Review on our podcast.
We will read them on the show if they're funny enough. Okay, that's a call to action.
If you on Apple Podcast review our show with a funny review of the movie Supernova starring Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth, we will read them on the show and give you credit. And if we choose to monetize that episode, maybe you'll make some money off of it. I don't know.
We're not going to monetize that episode. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm not going to monetize. If anyone's paying anybody, it's the Merchants Guild. Shout out to another episode.
Shout out to the Merchants Guild, where whoever you are out there.
I have no idea who they are. Look,
all
here's
right.
the thing.
Oh, go ahead, Jake. What's your last comment? What's the thing?
Jake, what's the thing?
I'm not. I've built up to say something really fucking.
No, we can
cool
delete
and rad.
everything. We can delete everything.
No,
before it.
we can delete all of it. What's the thing?
I was gonna say, here's the thing. If you like Drug Jake, don't say that you like him, because do I want to do this again for a podcast? Yes, but no. At the same time.
I believe that.
Matthew and Alex hated it, but I am having a good time.
I didn't hate it. I just feel bad for Matt doing all the
I'm going to shove my whole fist in my mouth. All right, let's end this podcast.
Okay.